Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to VG 101. Today's match, I will be playing Fortress. I will be tanking for my team today. If you'll notice on the right-hand side, our layout, we've got Fortress, me, Saw, and Glaive versus Cruel, Koshka, and Saw. Two of these guys on the enemy team are in a guild of their own, so we'll have to see if that ends up mattering. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end here so that you can see the way that the game turns out. Now before we even start, let's go ahead and look into a couple of things here so you can see what to expect as you watch this video. I go 8-2 with 16 assists, so pretty good game for Fortress. High kill ratio considering that I'm going to be the tank this game. But more importantly is to look over at the enemy side. Notice how low all of their gold farming is compared to my team on the right. So, careful point of order. Take a look at Cruel, 3305. Dangerously low. Why? Let's go ahead and look at this in greater detail. Here I present to you the reason why everybody should have an Ironguard contract. Well, not necessarily everybody, but at least one person on every team should have an Ironguard contract. Whether you're in the lane by yourself or in the jungle by yourself, somebody on your team is going to be doubling up in one location, and those doubles, one of you's got to have an Ironguard contract. So much the better if both of you have one. But take a look here and notice that Cruel could not get as many kills, he could not make as much money, he has nothing to his advantage. Whereas on my side of the things, I'm the tank. I went ahead and got the contraption first thing in the game and immediately started making money, even though I was letting Glaive get most of the kills firsthand. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. I start off the game purchasing the Ironguard contract and a couple of potions. Now the potions are just to keep me in the middle of the field, making sure that I don't have to constantly be running back and healing. The Ironguard contract, as I've already mentioned, is because I'm not going to be getting most of the kills. I'm going to be tanking, making that money on the side, letting Glaive get most of the kills. I went ahead and took the first ability offered to Fortress, which allows him to jump a short distance. If you'll notice though, one of the great things about Fortress's first ability is that you can basically have it on activation and then wait until you have a target within your sights. You don't necessarily have to have a target and then activate it and then click on your target. You can run around with it ready to go. Koshka's first ability is the same, and I highly suggest that you do it because it will allow you to jump in and get the first hits, which is necessary to make the Ironguard contract work its best. Right off the bat, we have an ally go down. So Glaive is going to run into the middle, or attempt to run into the middle to try and see if he can get a kill in there. And even though I don't have anything in the way of tanking ability yet, I'm going to go ahead and go with him. It's important to establish at the very beginning of the game the relationship that the three of you are going to have in this game. So in this particular case, I want everybody to know that I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the tank, which means I'm never going to be going anywhere on my own. I'm always going to be with somebody, so they can always expect for me to be there as we get further into the game. Now here we see a very crucial idea. Boom, enemy hero killed. You saw how close I got to dying. A constant amateur move is to get really, really low on health when the enemy is really low on health and then attempt to run away. You will almost never get away under these circumstances. You'll almost always die. And the truth of the matter is, if you stay in and fight, you might get the kill on your own, as we did. It came down to one hit, but because I had Saw on my team with me, instead of running away, we were able to get that kill. Now I'm back in the jungle with Glaive, walking around trying to get more money and level up a little further. As you'll notice, I'm making sure to run around and activate all the jungle creeps, which is important because the way the Ironguard contract works is if a creep attacks you and then your ally kills it, not you, you get a bonus amount of money because it attacked you first. It's as simple as that. If If you can get the creeps to attack you, then let someone else kill them. The rest of your teammates make some money. Now here I almost died, but again, I'm establishing my role. I'm jumping in. Even if it means I die a couple times right at the beginning, it's obviously not preferable, but it happens. But it lets the teammate know, I'm here. I'm going to be playing the tank. Now here, there's not a whole lot that I can do. I should have jumped in a little bit sooner, and maybe we could have saved Saw. In this case, I still get the kill on Cruel. I was just a little bit slow to hop in and help him out, but I was there, hanging around. It is possible that I could have jumped in a little bit earlier to get a few more kills. Possibly Saw wouldn't have died at all. This is true. But this early in the game, it's just important to establish what is my role going to be. I'm hanging around, I'm making the enemy heroes have to think twice before jumping in killing Saw. Saw, of course, is very slow to escape if he doesn't have his roadie run available. Here I am going back up to Glaive to match wits with them to make sure that I'm around, so they constantly see me there. They know that they're learning that they can start counting on me. You'll notice right off the bat I'm going straight for the contraption device before I do any of the defensive stuff. This is really a matter of preference, I suppose. Some people go for a couple of defensive items first. They get that second tier line of items building towards a contraption, and they decide then to switch and go for a number of other second tier items before finishing out their third tier items. Personally, I love the contraption, especially as a tank. Putting down those mines wherever you need them, making sure that you can see the enemy heroes no matter where they are. Once you have a whole bunch of these all over the map, you can see I put one down with the miner. Very important to see what's going on here. Not even necessarily just for the miner, but especially once the Kraken pops out. We're going to go ahead and kill Kroll really fast. Kasha gets away, which is perfectly fine. We get the kill. We don't suffer any losses. Go us. Now I can get some sprint boots on there. Obviously mobility is key in this game in addition to survivability, again, because I'm playing the tank. My role is not to deal damage. My role is to support everybody else. I can't get here soon enough to help Saw, and here we run into a problem. I drop a little mine. I jump in by myself. I don't know what I was trying to accomplish. The truth of the matter is there was no chance that that was actually going to work. I guess I was hoping that I was going to do more damage than I was actually capable of doing. But again, I've got my contraption. I'm going to put down mines whenever I can in jungles to make sure nobody is hiding from me, that we can see everybody whenever we can. Stay together with my teammates as best I can, because again, I'm not focusing on damage. I'm focusing on being the initializer for all of our battles. I ran down to this jungle to try and put a mine down there so that I could see what the enemy was doing. Unfortunately, the enemy was already waiting for me there, and I got hammered. You're the tank. You're gonna get hammered. You're gonna die. Now I'm starting to buy some defensive stuff. I've got my contraption. I've got my first tier of boots. I'm going to buy some defensive stuff before going offensive because, again, I'm going to start establishing myself as the initiator. I'm the tank. That's my job. So running back in to meet up with Glaive, again, let him know that there's always going to be somebody there. He's never going to be by himself. Saw just runs right into the middle of us and just gets slaughtered. Had no way of getting out of that. It's not really bad playing on his part. No, Saw probably shouldn't have been wandering into the jungle on his own, but truth be told, he didn't know we were there. It was just unfortunate for him. Here I proc my ultimate. It wasn't really going to accomplish all that much in terms of kills, but it does manage to help push back the enemy heroes while we're sort of regrouping a little bit. Going into the jungle to kill Saw kind of set everything off. All of a sudden, the creeps were not in the middle of the lane anymore. Here I run around to try and sneakily get into Kashka. Kashka has to run away. He can't hang in the battle. We managed to kill Saw, or I managed to kill Saw, almost get killed, but managed to get away safely. I've got 1,000 gold here. I've got to run and get some items really quickly while my allies are not in any danger of getting hurt. Go ahead and get that life spring. That's going to help us to heal up when we're out of battle and prevent us from having to go all the way back to the base. I was also close enough to the next level of my shield that I just went ahead and waited for the 550 gold to kill it. One thing to mention, going back to your base, if you can avoid it, should definitely be avoided. When you're in the middle of the game, that's when you're getting more experience by killing more creeps and getting more gold and advancing your game. Sometimes you get killed, sometimes your health goes down too low, you've got to run back to the base to heal, but the more you can avoid it, the better you're going to end up being. Now comes a part of the game where we have to really start figuring things out. Everybody's about mid-level. People are really starting to determine what kind of build they're going to have. We're almost 9 minutes into the game, and we've really got to start figuring everything out. It's not entirely safe to be out by yourself anymore, so me as the tank am going to have to be leading the group as best I can. I'm going to go ahead and pop my ultimate skill. Saw is everybody's first target. Cruel is stuck in the middle. We managed to get that kill. Starting to run away, I get locked in place by Koshka, but still manage to get away barely, just by one hit. By rights, honestly, I should have been killed in that particular exchange. But the enemy was not able to target me with everything, and I was able to survive. Still, you stick around a little bit, make sure that everybody else is okay. My role as the tank is to make sure that everybody else is protected. So if I get low and everybody else gets low, it means sometimes I've got to sacrifice myself. Cruel comes out to try and make us run away. Saw gets back in there. There's not a lot that we can do. I ran back in to try and save Saw, but all three of the enemy heroes showed up and there was nothing that I can do, so I just turned tail and run. I've got 1,500 gold pieces. It's time to go back and do a little bit of shopping, because obviously without the items, nothing's going to happen. I go for Fountain of Renewal, and then I start building toward Aftershock. Fountain of Renewal is an incredible, incredible piece to have, especially if you are the tank. You're going to be jumping in front. You're going to want to make sure that the rest of your teammates are healed. Here I use my Fountain of Renewal to help Glaive get some health back. Perhaps he won't have to hop back into the base and heal, and he doesn't. Drop more mines in the jungle so we can keep on keeping on. Move things forward just a little bit. I'm here all by myself. I shouldn't be, and I realize that. I clear the creeps, go back to meet up with the rest of my teammates and see what's up with them. They're all good. I'm going to do a quick run down to the jungle shop. I'm very close to the Eclipse Prism, so I'll just go ahead and wait, and then get my Aftershock. And once I have my Aftershock, I've got 2 items now which have a reduction in my cooldown, which is going to be very important, especially as we get further into things. Glaive is the target of all 3 heroes. I run in to try and help. I can't figure out exactly what I want to do. I pop my cooldown. We try and kill Saw. Are we going to get him? No, because I realize my other teammate needs some help. So this becomes quite the cluster. But I have my Fountain of Renewal on cooldown, and there you see the power of that one item. Things were a total mess. I was about to die. Saw was about to die. I popped the Fountain of Renewal. All of the enemy heroes have to run away. I decide not to attack Koshka because I don't want to trade kills just for the purpose of trading kills. That tower is going to kill me. It's already killed Glaive. Saw gets killed running into the base, so I decide, tuck tail and run. There's nothing that I can do. So we're going to start heading back on our own, and then you see the ever obnoxious question marks. Boys and girls, establishing question marks on top of your fellow players is really annoying. It's very, very hard to figure out what you're trying to say when you're trying to say something useful. In that particular case, he put a question mark on me and then a question mark on the enemy cannon, hinting that he thought perhaps I should have stayed fighting the cannon to try and destroy it. Truth be told, you saw it. The cannon did not have low enough HP, and I was there by myself. It would have killed me in a couple of hits. There was nothing that I could have done, so I ran away. In this case, his question marks were completely useless. I can't respond, and it's just annoying. Try and remember that each time you send out a question mark. It can be really obnoxious. The enemy runs right into us. You saw what just happened to Krull. Everybody is stuck in the middle. I ran away because I was the only person by myself over there trying to fight both of those heroes. I knew I couldn't kill them. Glaive ran in instead. We still managed to come out the victors in this 3-on-3. Again, a little sloppy. Now in general, what you're seeing here is a bunch of sloppy team fights. It turns out that our team is slightly better organized than the opposing team. As you saw, Krull can't get any gear. He's not making any money. Nobody on his team decided to take the Ironguard contract, and they're suffering because now Krull can't advance. And as everybody who plays this game knows, Krull is a beast if played well. So I took the time to try and figure out what item I needed next. Unfortunately, it took too long. I was not available to help Saw in that fight against Krull and the rest of his teammates, and suffered the consequences. But now they're coming to my tower. I proc my ultimate to try and protect it, leap into the mix. We target Krull hard, which is probably not the smartest idea, except that it gives the cannon enough time to build up its power, kill him. I get the next kill on Koshka. Saw now has to run away. He's all by himself. I try and figure out exactly what's going on. He's right next to the tower. I decide it's not worth hopping in on my own to try and do it. I'm running 7-1, which means from the enemy perspective, I'm a force to be reckoned with at this point. It's not the greatest game of Fortress that has ever been played, obviously, but you're looking at a tank who's 7-1. Clearly he has some good idea of what he's doing. Even, as you've seen, the team fights are sloppy. It's rarely 3-on-3. When it is 3-on-3, we tend to win. It's mostly 2-on-3 with a tower next to us, or 2-on-1. There's a lot of enemy team members who are running around by themselves or just leaping out, sticking their necks out without the protection. Here you see a very, very poignant but accidental death of mine by the enemy team. If you'll notice, I went to proc my ultimate skill and got hit with Krull's guitar axe. It stunned me in the middle of the animation, so I didn't get the extra health. I didn't get my 3 wolves running around to help cause chaos and ruckus amongst the enemy players. They were able to kill me. I finished getting the Crucible, which again, I get for not only for the defense on myself, but the defense of my teammates. Looking around, I notice that there's a lot of blue items on the enemy team. But of those items, only one of them is from a player that's actually doing a fair amount of damage, and he's not doing a fair amount of damage to me. You can see it's 7, 2, and 14 just from me. The only person on their team who's managing to get any kills is Koshka, and Krull can't do anything. So instead of getting more armor, more shield, I decide to get the Crucible. It can help me out, it can help my teammate out. I decide now that the enemy team is going for the Kraken that I just need to mess around with them a little bit to try and distract them, and it works. We get enough time for Glaive to run into the middle to help get all the rest of the kills from the enemy team. Saw is trying to get the closure on the Kraken and can't. We close in on him. I get the last hit, and by this point, the enemy knows they're done. The Kraken is rushing in. The enemy has surrendered. Game will be over very shortly. Now as we come to a close, let's go ahead and recap and look back on what's going on this enemy team. Again, we've got 2 members of the guild on the enemy team, which would imply to me that they're at the very least going to be able to work together. In this particular case, those 2 players work together the least on the enemy team. One of them should have had an Ironguard contract and did not. As a result, Krull only managed to raise 3305 gold in this entire game. He only had 35 creep kills. Compare that to the rest of our team. I only had 32 creep kills, but I still got over twice as much gold as Krull did. Why? Because I had the Ironguard contract. I hope you understand why it is such an important item in the game, and I hope that you will log in again, watch my future videos, so that you can learn from my success and my inevitable failures. See you next time.